Thank you, Madam Chair, and thanks to you and the ranking member for hosting, and thanks to all of you for being here. So first, I want to thank to each of the witnesses for the important work you put into this report. And I'd like to focus my questions on the ODA, the Organization Designation Authority culture at Boeing, and more broadly, some of the concerns that have been raised about retaliation against employees for identifying defects and other problems in the course of Boeing's operations. So in the report's executive summary, the expert panel found that even though Boeing's restructuring the management of the ODA unit decreased opportunities for interference and retaliation against ODA unit managers and provided better organizational messaging regarding the independence of unit managers, something was missing. Now, Dr. DeLuise, and I hope I'm getting that pronunciation right, in your executive summary, you say, and this is quoting from the report, the ODA restructuring, while better, still allows opportunities for retaliation to occur, particularly with regards to salary and furlough ranking. This influences the ability of unit managers to execute their delegated functions effectively, end quote. So, Dr. DeLuise, I want to understand how this fear of retaliation manifests itself on the assembly line. So, in your investigation, did you find Boeing employees on the factory floor were empowered and encouraged by management to stop the processes if an employee detected a nonconformity or a possible defect?
No, Senator. As I understand it, the only thing that stops the line on the factory floor is an OSHA violation. If an employee thinks that his or her life or health can be threatened, they can stop the line. Everything else basically gets written up and gets put into one of various processes, depending on where it sits. It gets written up and then supposedly gets addressed down the line. And this leads to the traveled work problem that we've heard about before, where you have a problem, you'll fix it later, but in order to fix it later, you have to take apart something that wasn't there before, and that's in part what caused the door problem. By the way, right? They had to replace some rivets, they had to remove the door, they put the door back, they forgot the bolts, etc. But no, to answer your question directly, we did not find any encouragement or any empowering to stop the line. They're focused on reporting it, and supposedly that loop should be closed and those problems fixed. But it's very difficult to say that that's actually happening. I can give you an example. In one of our interviews that I believe you and I did, Tracy, we were at the receiving area, the receiving room, section, where they check out the airplanes before the FAA inspects them. And I asked them, what is the major thing that you find? They say, oh, it's FOD, foreign object debris. And I'm like, so what happens? Well, we report it, we clean it up, and we move on. I said, well, don't you track back where the FOD came from so you can be sure it doesn't happen again? And they're like, well, we put the report in and somebody's supposed to do it, but it keeps on showing up.
Yeah. And
that's not how you're supposed to do things if you want to fix the problem once and for all.
Got it. So it sounds like there was not exactly a promotion of people sort of stopping the line or raising these issues. I mean, is there any evidence that there was actually the opposite, that there was retribution, or that people were actually penalized for raising some safety concerns?
Yes, that's correct. We heard reports. We heard several reports of people that felt that they were transferred or didn't get the raise that they were expecting. Now, please understand, we were not empowered to conduct a statistically significant, all-encompassing review. And I am very well aware that data is not the plural of anecdote, right? I mean, I'm recounting anecdotes, but that's what we heard, and I think that's our impression from a year of sending this.
So being mindful of time, I appreciate your testimony. I mean, one quick question, I guess, just to follow up, and maybe we can sort of further follow up with my staff in a detailed way. I mean, is there anything that you think Congress could do to sort of solve or at least improve this sort of basic incentive problem, right? If you're going to be penalized for raising safety concerns, then you're going to raise safety concerns. So we want to actually promote people for raising valid safety concerns. What do you think Congress could do to meaningfully change this?
As I mentioned in response to an earlier question, one thing you could do is you could. I'm not in your shoes, so I don't know if it's legislation or encourage or direct, but the setting up additional channels for where people can come and report without fear of retaliation, such as the ASAP program, I think would be a very good step.
Okay. Well, thank you, Dr. Lewis, and I appreciate it. And I know you personally have suffered some tragedy because of some of these problems, and so I'm grateful for your work on this, but also my condolences. Thank you, Madam Chair.